Welcome to Meet the Candidate 2022, and we're recording here from the Dry Fly Distillery. My guest this morning is Michael Zollars. He is a candidate for Spokane County Sheriff. So welcome this morning.
Thank you.
This is the Get Acquainted conversation, and I always like to start with, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Elk, Washington, North County. My mom still lives in the same house I grew up in. Graduated.
So does my mom.
Graduated from Riverside High School in 1983. Went off to college. Didn't do well in college. Had to scale back. I came back to Spokane, went to community college and got an Associate of Applied Science in Police Science. And joined.
And that could be a very good plan.
Joined the sheriff's office in 1988 as a reserve deputy. Mm-hmm. Was invited to the Reserve Academy by the then training staff, and then March of 1989 was hired as a deputy full-time. Did 32 and a half years with the sheriff's office, retired at the end of last September. Mm-hmm. But 3 days after that, I began a new career at the Kalispell Tribal Police Department.
Oh.
I was kind of recruited out there by some friends that work there to help them modernize and grow that agency out there. Prior to my law enforcement career, though, I joined my volunteer fire department at 18 years old.
Oh, up in Elk?
At the Elk Station is where I started, back when each station had its own name. Now they all have numbers.
Right.
And 38 years later, I'm still doing volunteer fire on a regular basis.
Well, we have that in common as well. It's funny how the time just creeps up on you once you volunteer into that service.
It does creep up, but it's rewarding. It's helping people when they need it at their most dire time.
Yeah. So while you were growing up in Elk, is there a first job that, where did you first connect work and pay?
As a kid, we did a lot of summer jobs. My dad bought a rototiller for the tractor, and I went out and rototilled people's gardens for the summer. He was a Snap-on tools dealer, so I had a lot of contacts with different companies. I spent one summer working at a body shop in Deer Park. I'm doing odd jobs there. I think just like every other kid in the county, I spent some time bucking bales. I spent some time mowing lawns. I had weekly lawns that I did. Anything to make a buck for a kid to have some spending money. Spent one summer as a YMCA day camp counselor up at Gary Junior High. The kids were up there, and I spent my whole summer, saved all my money all summer long, and bought a motorcycle, which my mother wasn't super pleased with, but
it was your money.
I was able to save my money the whole summer. It was fun.
So let's see. So what's travel experiences? Sometimes that's something that people bring to the, it affects how you look at the world, how you compare to other communities.
I don't have a lot of travel abroad, around the States. I hunt out of state, I hunt in state. I have family up and down the West Coast, family back in the Midwest, so we travel back and see them. I've been on a cruise one time. The cruise atmosphere is nice. You get to see different parts of the world. But the one thing that drove me kind of buggy was the fact that I was stuck on this boat.
Yeah.
I wanted to exercise, and it was 5 laps around the little track they had for one regular lap, and it drove me bonkers. It was nice to get off. But I remember we got connected with a man who runs his own travel business in Mazatlan. And I got connected from someone here. And so he and I had a lot of conversations before we went there. So when we got there, he showed up at the docks, really nice guy, Mexican national. His parents moved to Vancouver, Canada. They were teachers. And then when he became an adult, he moved back to Mexico to raise his kids. And so I didn't want to do all the regular touristy stuff. And I said, Frank, he said, where do you want to go today? I said, Frank, what do you want us to see about your hometown? He said, I get there's going to be some main attractions, but show me what you want us to see. So we went to some really neat places that were off the beaten path. And then he said, well, what do you want to do for lunch? And I said, take me to your favorite restaurant. I have my family, and there's like 8 of us there. I said, take us to your favorite restaurant. Let's go where you go. And that was nice, because I didn't want to do all of the touristy stuff, because he even joked with me. I said, at some point, we're going to have to do some shopping. I said, but I don't want stuff. I want authentic Mexican crafts if we're going to do that. And he laughed. He said, "Yeah, we buy from foreign countries too." So it was fun, but it was nice to connect with someone on that personal level and show me what's important to you about your town, because he had grown up there and then moved his family back there. He felt strongly enough about that.
I think that's a great way to travel, to really connect with the local places, and then to bring that attitude back to your own hometown as, what's really important here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's life like now after retiring and starting up with Kalispell's?
It's just as busy. Campaigning and working is having 2 full-time jobs.
Yes.
It is very busy. But we still have lawns to mow, and I just had my oldest daughter home with her family for one of my younger daughter's graduation from high school this last week. So we've had a busy household, juggling people and dogs, and with all of the rain we've been having lately, it seems like about once every 2 weeks I'm able to go out there and beat the weeds back, but I can't actually really get a good mow going.
Yeah, because it's too wet.
It's awful. I mean, I love the water. I love the fact that the drought's coming back, or our drought numbers are coming down because the water table is coming back. But it is difficult to wade through the grass every morning with the dog.
Yeah. So what inspired you to run for public office?
I've talked about it off and on with my kids for the last year or two. Really never seriously thought about it, but when the campaigning kind of started and some changes occurred in the campaign, I thought, it's time. It's time to go in and step up and make those changes that need to be made. Don't get me wrong. I worked there for 32 and a half years, and I left happy. I left for a new challenge and a new opportunity to help another agency grow. But there are some changes that need to happen at the sheriff's office. Law enforcement's not getting any easier. It's more difficult all the time, and it's highly scrutinized. But the men and women that work at the sheriff's office do a great job every day. There are just some tweaks that we can change and help out. There are some costs that are being incurred that we could probably change. We need to maybe look at alternate scheduling to get better manpower onto the streets. I, like everyone else, just got my property tax evaluation. It went up 35%. Nobody wants to see higher taxes. Don't want to do that. So let's look at the manpower we have and see if we can alter that scheduling, the staffing, change things around to get more people on the streets. It's hard when your minimum staffing for the day is 10 deputies in the county, and you only have 10 on the platoon. There's no room for a day off or a sick day without creating overtime. And it's got rough enough now that they're paying double time in some cases just to get people to come in and have minimum staffing. And that's just a cost. I think our recruiting scheme might be off. We're recruiting kind of abroad in large metropolitan areas. I'm convinced that there's probably 500 or 1,000, and obviously I'm just throwing out a number. But my point is I'm trying to emphasize is there are dozens of people in this town that can do this job very well. Why aren't they applying? Why doesn't this job appeal to them? Let's go to them and say, come work for us. Here's the benefits we can give you. Bring your skill sets, your background, your views to us, and let's be a better agency.
Well, I'm going to give you that last word wrap up to your direct pitch. Answer the question: why should people vote for Michael Zollars for Spokane County Sheriff?
I am very community oriented. I have a lifetime of service. Since I was 18, I've quietly worked in and worked for my community, both in a career that pays my bills and allows me to have a good lifestyle, and in a volunteer career that really pays the pride, the well-being. I would be a sheriff that truly is here to serve the community. I realize there are politics involved. I would get involved in politics to the extent that they benefit our community and our agency.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me, Michael.
Thank you so much.
From Chud Sr. to Dick Wendell, to Kristen and myself.
And now to our kids.
Our goal is to help people drive for generations.
From roll-up windows to power everything. From stick to automatic. From gas to electric.
No one can totally predict what technology is coming our way.
But I can guarantee we will be here before and after the sale, giving you the confidence for generations to come.
That's the Wendell way. Drive for generations.
Hey voters, join me, Kirk Cameron, on Saturday, September 24th with We Believe, We Vote at the Spokane Convention Center for a night of celebrating biblical citizenship.
Join We Believe We Vote for our annual fundraiser on Saturday, September 24th, 2022 with Kirk Cameron. For tickets and event information, please visit WeBelieveWeVote.com. That's WeBelieveWeVote.com. We'll see you there.
Weather in the inland Northwest can wear you down. And if your gutters are in poor condition or you do not have gutters, you could suffer damage that could cost a fortune to fix. Rainman Seamless Rain Gutters has almost 30 years of professional experience in serving the inland Northwest region and strives to ensure customer service that is second to none from the time you call to the end of the project.